Okay, so welcome back to Honeybee Tarot and Coaching Destiny. We took kind of a little hiatus, right? And we were trying to figure out how long it's been. So somewhere between a month and 6 weeks, I think, since we last met. We did a little bit of catching up. So just share whatever you want to. In terms of what you've been up to since we talked last.
Mostly just going through life, learning how to go through it without overthinking so much, which, applies to what we've been talking about here. I've been trying to stay out of my head as much as possible. Although it doesn't always work, I still try.
Right. Okay.
And then, I had a period where I left 2 weeks where I didn't work at all because I was really depressed, but pulled myself out of that. And then, like I was telling you, I've started dating somebody, which has been a new experience for me since they don't live here.
Yeah. So just so that everyone knows that you did take care of yourself when you went into a depression period. You do have a therapist that you meet with weekly, and how did that help you to get through the
therapy? I mean, it's always helpful to have somebody to talk to when you have a bunch of overwhelming feelings, and that's what it normally is for me, is that my feelings are so intense and overwhelming that I just don't, it's paralyzing.
Okay.
And so I'm actually going to meet with my therapist in person next week, and we're going to learn, or she's going to coach me through sitting with feelings until they, through to the end. So I think that's going to really help me in the future when I get back into those lows.
Yes. Okay. And, kudos to you for continuing to take care of yourself, right? For continuing to, well, okay, we're not going to do it perfectly, right?
Right.
But, if you keep going to, see your therapist or do some of the other things that you're doing to take care of yourself, certainly in depression, sometimes all we can do to take care of ourselves is rest, not criticize ourselves, right? Get up and get a bite to eat, but also reach out to your support. Don't hide away. So
isolating. I try not to. I always try to reach out to my mom or friends or anybody. And then now I have this person that I'm dating that I can tell anything to. So
okay. Okay. And you were telling me a little bit about meeting him and how you're applying what you've learned about yourself in terms of your North Node and your South Node. So how has that come into play as you've been
well, I have to
with this new person
really focus on appreciating the journey itself and not thinking ahead to where we're going to be or what we're going to do, especially since it's long distance. It's I don't really know when we're going to have the chance to meet in person for the first time or live near each other. And if I focus on that, I'm just going to be a mess. So I've been appreciating the simpler things and the day to day, and it's been interesting, being okay with that and having fun and finding peace in the day and not looking ahead so much.
Yeah. And I think, does he know about your interest in, the North Node and now in tarot? And
I've talked to him a little bit about it, but we haven't talked in depth about it. He knows a lot about my creativity and how much I love art and stuff like that. But yeah, we haven't really talked about the tarot that much.
Oh, okay. All right. So, so you're enjoying just being in the moment and the process, and this is a new adventure and not trying to overthink it or figure it all out yet. Just be present with
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds wonderful. Okay. So then what have you been working on? So in terms of what we've been doing, this is our final session. We both agreed that in terms of the goals that you set for coaching, we've reached that goal. So you said you kind of went back and finished up some of the homework assignments. Yeah. Okay. So what would you like to share?
So we had, for the homework that I was supposed to do, I finished up by drawing cards for the positive traits. I think I had 4 left on how can work against me. So I'd done those, and we can discuss those if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
I still have the cards pulled for that one as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you did. So you pulled all of these on your own, right? Okay. I don't know why. I thought I just had it right in front of me. The list of positive traits. I don't know where they went.
So the 4 that we had left were intuitive, kind soul, courageous, and a good friend. Those are the 4 that.
Okay, I love it. So what did you come up with, Destiny?
So for intuitive, I pulled the 9 of Swords here. Okay. And wait, that's not swords. Can't tell if this is wands or swords. This is probably wands. It's always difficult for me to tell the 2 apart.
Yeah, there's lots of fire there, right?
Is
that lots of fire? She's standing on
the top.
Okay. Well, what did you write down?
Basically, what I wrote down is that she's balanced on one of them, and there's all these other ones around it. So as far as how your intuition could work against you, I thought that, maybe sometimes I don't pursue other options that might be there because I feel like my intuition is telling me to do one thing, but that doesn't mean there aren't other avenues that could also work out.
Okay.
So I'm hyper focused on one thing because of what my intuition tells me. There we go. I'm back.
Okay.
Sometimes it does that.
Yeah. Okay, so you can get like a little too hyper focused on just one idea. How would you kind of relate that to your north and south node axis?
I don't remember what, because we have all those different terms or the words for each one. I don't think I have that list in front of me.
Well, okay, let me tell you that in the Gemini South node, we would have indecisiveness, right? Because we're kind of aware of all of the different options, right? And
right.
And in the North node, we would have being able to be spontaneous, spontaneity, developing a sense of freedom and adventure.
Yeah, so I guess that would relate to unable to be spontaneous because like I'm hyper focused on just one thing. I'm not allowing myself to try these other things that may or not work out, but I won't know because I'm like, no, there's this one thing that I know.
One thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. What was the next one?
The next one was kind soul, and I pulled the 9 of Pentacles here.
Ooh, another 9.
Okay. Yeah. And how it can work against me is I said that sometimes it can feel like a burden because like I saw these pentacles around her and I was like, that's a lot of pentacles. I said I felt like sometimes it can be a burden to be kind all of the time. Like I can't react negatively because I have to be kind.
Okay, yeah. So there's some part of you that's like, all right, um, I have to be kind. And if I'm not kind, then
That I'm a bad person.
I'm a bad person. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So you almost kind of give all of the kindness to others and forget about being kind to yourself. Like saying no to someone can be kind to yourself, even. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. And does that fit into north or south node for you?
Mm, I need to write down these words that because you bring them up every time, but I never write them down.
Well, you know what? I'm looking straight out of the book that we've used. Okay.
Mhm.
And they're on tendencies to leave behind. One of the things is trusting others' perceptions instead of one's own, including others' perceptions about oneself.
Okay, so that would kind of apply.
Like maybe being more concerned about what others think of you, whether you're being kind or not, rather
Mhm.
than.
Like if I'm setting a boundary and I feel like that's me not being kind, well, then it's their perception that
Mm,
maybe I'm kind, but for me, it's being kind to myself.
yes, yes. Okay. All right. And what's your next one?
Next one was courageous.
Okay.
And then I pulled the Four of Wands, which looks like that. And basically my immediate thought was like, wow, they look really happy. Being courageous might get me to what makes me happy, but it also brings up fears of losing what I've gained from being courageous.
Ooh, tell me a little bit more about that. Say a little bit more about that.
um, I don't know, so because we've talked a lot about like the fear of success and how
Yeah,
that's what came up for me when I looked at this card. I was like, these two people look really happy together.
they're
There's
celebrating.
there's something around the corner that's going to happen really bad for these two. For some, I'm always hyper vigilant.
Okay, okay. Maybe, yeah. So courageousness can work against you by being, eh, if I'm incorrect and not hearing you correctly, just let me know. Um, Courageousness can sometimes work against you because you might be too hyper vigilant in all of the things that can go wrong
Yes.
or can be taken away from you if you were to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like it's triggering some fears. Like even though I might like ignore the fears and walk forward, they're still there.
Okay. 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 Very good. And what was the last? Is it the last one or how many did you have?
Yeah, this next one's the last one. And
Okay.
being a good friend, I think it was the King of Cups, which looks like that here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I saw this, because he's like raising his glass, I thought
Mm-hmm.
like there's the saying, drink with me, like, have a glass with me. And
Okay.
that made me think about how like I'm always there for a person when they have an issue and they need help solving their problems. But how that can work against me sometimes is that I kind of enable them to like
Mm.
too much to where they can't help themselves because I'm always there to solve it for them.
Okay. Yeah. So if you could look over at the negative traits, right, that we looked at. Um, let's see. Can you see any one of these negative traits that you could draw from to bring you back into balance? If we were just going to talk about this last one, okay, as an example, being a good
Right.
friend. Um, it sometimes works against you by uh, um, creating an enabler.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at your negative traits and how they sometimes work for you, can you see one that you might use to balance that part of you out?
I think lax boundaries. I didn't write down what we talked about when we discussed lax boundaries,
Yeah,
but that
I didn't.
that will apply.
It would apply. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Lax boundaries would apply. Let me see. Let's see myself and less seriously. I don't think we pulled a card for lax boundaries because I don't have anything down here either.
Yeah, that I don't because I've looked back on the videos. I'm not sure if I was supposed to do that on my own because it didn't say in the video. Maybe we just moved on from
Yeah,
it.
we might have. Okay. Um, self-esteem, difficulty expressing words and feelings. Okay. Let's pull a card on lax boundaries and how that could lacking boundaries, how that could work for you.
Okay.
Did we do the negative traits?
We did some of them. Yeah, it was in the last video
Okay.
because I had listed some and lax boundaries, I believe. Like I had more listed and we combined some into lax boundaries, I believe.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that I don't know if we intended to cover those or not. I don't think we got around. The book jumped into the shadow and others. So that's
Yeah.
where we're off.
Okay. So let's pull a card on how lacking boundaries can sometimes work for you. Did you pull a card already?
I can. Decks right here.
The card I'm getting is just going to clarify your card, okay?
Okay.
For some reason, I'm not getting any, and then they just all flipped over. So, yikes, that's too many.
That's happened to me a lot today. So
Yeah.
when I get many, I just shuffle those until one of those pops out.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Been narrowed down, but give me one out of this out of this little pile.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, I got the 3 of Wands there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting.
Don't really know what to make of it though, in relation to lacking boundaries. Like it's kind of
right. So, but this because we're doing a wholeness exercise, right? And we're looking at this wholeness exercise is all about really appreciating dialectics and that everything exists on a spectrum, right? And if we can do that with ourselves, we can really start to accept all of who we are, right? And have compassion and also look at like areas like we talked about, that we might not always like about ourselves with more compassion, but also see how, sometimes those things are an asset, right? So lax boundaries, you pulled the 3 of Wands, which is a card. Well, why don't you describe to me what you see on the card?
There's a man looking out over it's either water or a bunch of clouds, but he's looking out over a bunch of stuff. And he's those 3 wands.
Mhm. What do you think he's feeling as he's looking out over the water? Or what do you think he might be thinking? Or why would he be looking out over the water?
Just observing what's in front of him and
Mm.
thinking about everything.
Yeah, it's really kind of a card of um expectation in many ways. It's kind of dreaming, but also or an expansion, but it's also waiting for the thing that you put out there into the world to come back. Like, what's coming back to me, right? So it's like healthy expectation in a lot of ways. Okay, there's some expansiveness to it, optimism to it. I think you talked earlier, I don't remember if we were already recording or not, where the rigidity, you have like rigidity in your process when you the intuitive thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that you can become too rigid with the 3 of Wands, where you sometimes lack boundaries. Being boundaryless allows you to be more open and expansive and have a bigger expectation, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so what I pulled for the clarifiers was a Page of Cups. This is, a very idealistic, dreamy, fantasy, surprise. This person is playful, right? There's not a lot of solidness behind him. And there's a fish jumping out of the cup, for heaven's sakes, right?
That's funny.
Yeah. And here's the boundaried person, right? So it's like allowing yourself to be a little bit more, maybe more dreamy, right? A little bit more open to play and things, that possibilities.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
It's still kind of difficult for me to wrap my head around how having a lack of boundaries can be a good thing, but I think I'll get there.
Yeah. Well, what would be a positive word for lacks boundaries?
I don't know. Can't think of one.
Easy? Could it be easygoing? Could it be open? Could it be I'm not saying that lacking boundaries in a certain situation, you absolutely need to have your boundaries 100%, right? But there's a part of you, potentially, if you want to look at it this way, that the lack of boundaries is a good thing in some situations. Might be more accepting, might be another word.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, being more accepting, whereas other people might have more of a rigid way of looking at people in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
Okay. Does that make more sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm confused.
This is a really hard, and we're not even doing it to its full justice on this little series here on my little YouTube channel. But I do use this with clients, that I'm counseling. And the coaching thing I haven't done, certainly not on YouTube in this vein, but this particular exercise, it can hurt your brain. It really can.
Sometimes is difficult when you've never before.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a really loud inner critic, right?
I do.
Yeah. If you have, a lot of us do, right? If you have a way of thinking where that that is very rigid, where things are black and white, things are good or they are bad. If you have a tendency to talk negatively, to yourself, if you have, let's just say, a bad day, and I'm just saying that just because we don't want to get too deep, but it can be hard to say, like, no, there could be some positives to these things that I don't like about myself, or that I, have been shamed or guilted, or, other people have told me that's not, what's wrong with you, right? Okay. So it can be really challenging. Plus, it's hard. It's like hard work on your brain. It's almost like a puzzle, right?
Yeah. Like when you are thinking negatively so much, that's the way your brain is wired. So trying to quickly make some new connections there is like, whoa.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So any other things that you worked on while we were?
Yeah. Did you want to hear about what was it? The players in life and how they helped me or made me move into the North Node a little more?
I would love to hear that. Yeah.
Okay. So I use different cards for these. I use my Allison deck because I just got it.
Oh, fun.
So we had mom, dad, and other for the people. Loss, mistakes, successes, logic, intuition, and I think we did self for concepts.
Okay. Yeah. So what did you come up with?
So for mom, I pulled the strength card, which looks like this. And like when I saw it, I saw like there's the stem here, but like it's not connected to the leaves. It's like just a rigid pole. And I was like, okay, so she taught me to be unwavering and give me drive and move forward, which is definitely my mother.
Wow. Okay. So did that, again, you do not have to talk deeply or profoundly about, these topics, but did that offer you another narrative around your mother and your relationship?
It did, yeah, because and I don't mind talking about this. Like I felt for a long time, I felt like she was never around because maybe she didn't care about me, but it wasn't that she didn't care, is that she did care. She had to work 2 jobs. She had to go to school and take care of us all at the same time. So, she just had determination. And she was very strong.
She was very strong. Yeah. But then also she required, I think the question I asked you also was, see what these people or these patterns and concepts required you to do to grow into your
right
self, right, or your North Node. So so she required you to also be strong and courageous.
And and I learned some of that drive from her, but kind of not having her around, I had to learn to do those things as well.
Yes. And so once again, here we are at this idea of a dialectic. Okay. So on one hand, I'm sure there was a lot of grief and sadness and pain associated with that, not having your mom around a lot.
Right.
I've had that same shared experience. And we look at it another way. Okay, so this experience also helps me to become strong, right? Yes. Okay. Okay, very interesting. So what did you pull for the next one?
So the next one was dad, and it was Queen of Swords, which looks like this, which looks
Oh,
like somebody folding somebody else.
uh-huh.
The Alice is pointing at the Queen like,
That is
you.
such a cute deck. All right.
It is.
Queen of Swords. Okay.
So my dad, I guess what I learned through him is he taught me discipline, but I think that would kind of fall more into the south node, because the north node would be more like spontaneity. You wouldn't really be paying attention to discipline unless you think of it as being goal oriented. That's more disciplinary.
Mhm.
So I had to learn to do things step by step because he's had a military mind. So he's like, every day you need to take your shower, and it could only last for 1 minute, honestly, or like 4 minutes.
Oh,
You gotta
yes,
make
that military. Yeah, the 4-minute shower. Uh-huh.
Yep. Uh,
Um, no, I'm gonna throw something at you. I love what you said.
mhm,
I love what you're coming up with. Also, I want to just throw this out and just explore it with you.
mhm.
One of the key attributes in your Sagittarius North Node is direct communication free from censorship.
Hmm.
Did having the dad that you had, did you ever feel that you couldn't say what you wanted to say or needed to say?
Yes, because you're not supposed to talk back. Like, you're just supposed to obey orders.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so as you have moved through your journey in healing, okay,
Mhm.
and we know that, you know, healing can take a lifetime, but what are you learning about that?
I'm learning I need to communicate and be open and honest.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It, talking openly and challenging things it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not that I'm not allowed to question orders. I need to sometimes.
Yeah. You've been really fighting to take back your voice and being able to express
Yes.
yourself. Okay. So he required you, right? To set off. If again, we're looking at this from this eagle's perch.
Mhm.
He required you to get out on that journey, go out on hop on the train and fight
Learn
for
how
your right. Yeah, to express yourself. And the queen, I'll just tell you, the Queen of Swords, oh no, you will hear what she has to say.
her face is all angry. She's like, I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
talk to you.
that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So while
Uh,
he might have shut you down, he also required you to get up and fight for your right to speak, to
Truth,
party.
long fight for your right.
Yeah, to speak
Uh,
up. Yes. Okay. Really interesting. Okay. What's your next one?
so the other one was other, how, and I think when we talked about other as a person, I was looking at how I saw other people like on social media and like what they were doing.
Yep.
And for that one in this deck, it's flowers, but it's wands. So the 7 of Wands.
Oh, okay.
And how I saw that was, I think originally I talked about how when I saw other people that I was comparing myself to all the things they were accomplishing that I couldn't because they
Mhm.
had more. But really it's kind of showing me that there's endless possibilities to choose from. Like, why can't I go after the things that they are? Like, I could do anything really. Like, there's all these different flowers. Which one am I gonna pick? I could choose it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna pull out another, I like that. I'm gonna pull out another image of 7 of Wands along with 6 of Wands, just to um give you another opportunity.
Maybe it's the 8 and I wrote it down wrong.
You wrote what down wrong?
I wrote it down wrong. I think it was the 8 of Wands.
Oh, you think
But
it was the 8 of Wands?
yeah, but what I see from it is still the same, that there's,
Okay.
possibilities, but I think the actual number is 8 and I just wrote it down wrong.
Okay. But what you still see it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let me show you 8 instead of 7. Okay.
Confusing.
Let's see. I'm sure now it's going to be like the last one. Okay. This is 8 of Wands over here. 8 is, I'm sorry, Wands is about, fire energy, right? So it's action and it's passion and it's life force and it's movement. Okay. This is what that image looks like here.
Okay. I remember that one.
Okay. Do you get anything new from seeing this? New or different? Just out of curiosity. You don't have to.
Not really, no.
Okay.
What do you get from it? Maybe you.
Well, yeah, based on what you said, definitely there's lots of options in the arrows are being thrown, okay, or the wands, okay, but
they're flying.
yeah, they have been interpreted as like the arrows of Cupid, right? Like
right.
They're all being flung. So these can be like multiple messages coming in, multiple opportunities coming in, lots of quick, swift action. Something is coming all
at me.
all at you, yeah, or you have thrown all of these out there. So there's lots of things, and something's going to land. Which one? Which one? It's kind of like what you were saying. It's like, well, I can do all of these things. I've got all these options and opportunities at my disposal as well.
Something will stick if I keep trying.
Yeah, these people don't have anything that I don't have, right? Okay, interesting. So I want to go back and look. Yeah, geez, trusting oneself, spontaneity, again, developing a sense of freedom and adventure, not needing to overthink, just like go, right? Okay, love it. All right, what's your next one?
So the next one is the set of concepts, and I'm not sure if you're going to do all of these because I don't know where we are at on time and how long you want this to go, but the first was loss, which is the Knight of Swords, which in this one looks like that.
It was what, the Knight of Swords? Oh, okay. All right. And this is around loss. Okay.
Yes.
So what did you come up with then?
So for me, it looks like he's holding on to something, and like he actually is holding a little heart. So I thought that he was like learning to embrace what he's got. Like it would help me learn to embrace what I have while I have it, because it's not always going to be there. I can enjoy that.
Yeah. Okay.
Heart's over him too. So
yeah. So he moves into action.
Yeah.
And enjoys what he's got in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Very much Sagittarius North Node.
Ugh, that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is. And you're living that right now, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm not fearing losing what I've got right now because I'm too busy enjoying it.
Good for you. Very, very glad to hear that.
So I don't know what this card is in a traditional deck, but it's transformation in this one. So for the next one was mistakes, and it's the caterpillar transformation.
I love it. Okay.
which is pretty
So,
like, you're thinking, you're learning and growing, like transforming from a caterpillar into a butterfly from your mistakes.
yes, that probably resonates to the death card.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So you can let something go,
Hmm.
right? Okay. So that needed to pass away or that didn't work out. That's fine.
Right. Let me just
Okay.
take what did work from that and move forward.
Move forward. Yeah. Okay.
I really love this deck. This is the first time I've used it. Was
It's
doing
darling. Yeah. It's really darling.
Barnes and Noble, but like it's just a Disney Alice in Wonderland deck.
Okay.
And so the next,
I've got so many decks like that I want to get. But I'm considering now seeing that. Like I might put that on my list.
yes, I have so many too, and there's so many out there to buy.
Yes. There are
But
so
this one is
it's a problem.
it even comes with I'll show you, it came with a little carrying bag. Let me pull it out. It's not really relevant, but it's got this little bag for the cards.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. You can tote your cards around, right?
Hmm. So the next card was successes.
Okay.
And, and it's the sun. She's enjoying the fruits of her labor, having all this tea and pie.
Oh my gosh, how perfect. Okay, so how do you put that in your narrative?
So my successes show me that I have things to be proud of. Like I have all of this on my table. Um, Helps me look back on what I've done and not just think about what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm. If I asked you what are you most proud of? What,
What am I
you
most
know,
proud of?
yeah.
I'm most proud of all the risks that I've taken. Like so when I moved to Washington, I quit my job. Um, I lived in a tent for 6 months in Washington.
Wow, that's
So
brave.
I just went for it.
Uh-huh.
And it ended up turning out really well. Like I eventually, like I found a job and became a caregiver, and I was really successful. I had my own apartment and everything. So I learned a lot. And everybody was telling me I was crazy to just want to go to Washington. And I was like, yeah, maybe I am crazy. I'm going to go do it anyway, though. Faith in myself.
Yeah, that's
So
so your North Node. Yeah. Okay. Um, I love that for you.
all right. So the next one was logic. And I got the 3 of Pentacles, which is hedgehogs in this deck. And you see they're looking in all the different
Uh-huh.
directions. So I saw, in regards to logic, that it's
Hmm.
helped me see the bigger picture and see all the sides of different things.
Oh, ooh,
Funny how the
interesting.
card shows that.
Yeah. Okay. So it's helped you to see all the different sides of things. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Wisdom.
Um, how has that been a part of your journey? I'm curious.
How has that been part of my journey?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's been a part of it in so many ways. It's just kind of hard to put into words.
Mhm. Well, I think, again, referring to what you said earlier about, you can become too rigid and set on one idea.
Mhm.
And wondering, have you needed to learn to be a little bit more uh, open with your perspectives or to see things from different situations or different viewpoints or perspectives? Can't
Yeah,
remember exactly what you said.
I think in like when you're healing from something, like you are having to see things from a different perspective, because if I'm used to only seeing the negative, well, I have to open myself up to seeing that there's more than one side. Like, we're talking about the two sides of things,
Mm-hmm.
to open myself up to that. because of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Right. And actually, Three of Pentacles, traditionally, this is like a collaborative card. It's a card of going, and of course, with your deck, it can be something completely different, but it's each person in the card. It has plays a different role, and they're working together. And so oftentimes you might see that card and say, like, it's time to go consult with someone on an issue, right? And so you've taken care to maybe allow yourself to get out of one type of thinking and go heal, right? And find it through your therapy, your counseling. Yeah, I love that. So this is what the traditional image is.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so they're all working together.
They're all working together. Yeah. Okay, love it. All right. What's your next one?
So the next one was intuition, which is like in a different context of what we did for the traits. And it's Alice sitting under this tree. I think this is the world card. She's
oh my
yeah.
God. Okay. Wow.
And I saw she's relaxing, and I felt like she was relaxing because, or the way that I saw it is that it helps me learn helps me learn to worry less, because as long as I follow my intuition, I'm good to go. Like, I've got the world in front of me.
You've got the world in front of you. Yeah. Whoa, that is amazing. Okay. So you can kind of like relax into life. You can really kind of just enjoy
the earth.
Yeah. Enjoy the earth and life and how life shows up, and you can handle, right?
I can handle it.
Yeah.
And then the last one was a sense of self as a concept, which I got the Page of Pentacles, or hedgehogs in this deck. And that one would be like putting me into spontaneity. Like, I thought about making my own path and sticking out from everybody else, because, like, what the heck is that? That's a bird with a hammer. I mean, with a shovel on it.
Yeah. Okay. So, sense of self or self, with the Page of Pentacles. So you're recognizing like
my individuality and how I'm unique, and
yes, carving your own trail. What's it called? Blazing your own trail.
Yeah.
What's right for destiny.
For myself, because there's these birds with hammerheads, and they're hammering up a sign.
So
that's what about that.
Oh, that's great. So can you put this whole narrative together? Tell me the story of destiny using, if you can think of these concepts, putting them together. Let's start with the narrative that you used to have about yourself and about all these different concepts and all these different people. The story I used to tell myself was
that people don't care about me, that I'm not capable of doing what I want. I would tell myself that, loss is painful, making mistakes sucks. Yeah, that success is something to be afraid of. That I can't trust my intuition. But I guess with these cards, none of that is really true.
None of that is really true. Which narrative do you want to tell yourself as you move forward into your healing? Of course, right. you've got work to do. We all do.
Forever, everyone's forever growing.
Yeah.
I want to tell myself that like I can do anything that I set my mind to.
Mhm.
Um, if I'm determined and I don't get stuck in my head too much, and I
Mhm.
do my intuition and know that I can trust it. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right. What did you think about what? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said that it's okay to be unique and like kind of follow things for me and to my own path.
Yeah. More than okay. Right. Absolutely necessary to be unique and follow your own path.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what was this like for you? What was this journey in this little coaching thing and understanding yourself, your unique self and your unique expression of the South Node, North Node access? What was this like for you?
Kind of mind blowing in a way. Like I didn't really expect to learn all of this stuff about myself just by looking into my North Node and South Node. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna learn a couple of things, and no, instead I'm looking at my entire life differently.
Right. I mean, because we started off really, I think you wanted to know how your North Node was impacting and your South Node was impacting
Just
or
my
could impact your career path, I think.
career. But
And what did you
instead it affects everything.
learn? Yeah. So
Nice.
all of the worry and all of the need for certainty and all of the things that those were the things that were impacting your ability to say like, this is what I enjoy. This is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do. And I don't have to worry about what other people think or say or, you
Yeah.
know.
And it's definitely helped me embrace the things that I want for myself.
Mm,
Um, because I'm not so caught up on doing what other people want me to do anymore. I'm like, no, this is me. Like I know who I am. And
love that.
I don't know. It's made things easier.
Good, good. I'm so glad to hear that. I feel like this is a good place to stop. And do you have anything else that you want to add or um, express?
Not really. Not
Okay.
really.
Yeah, I think you said
I need to get that book that you've got. That's for sure.
yes. Yes, you do. And I can send you lots of different titles too. Yeah, when you're ready. But it was really, really a pleasure and an honor to meet you and work with you. And thank you so much for, being a part of, my journey and my risk taking. And, who knows where all this goes, but I feel like I have to be like you and be brave and, trust these little inspirations. And so
Mhm.
I truly, truly appreciate you being a part of this.
Mm,
And it's been a pleasure to watch you, grow through this and change your, the way that you look at yourself and at life. And
mhm.
I wish you the best and lots of healing and success and love and all the great things that you definitely deserve.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I will end this video and I'll just talk to you a little bit on the other side and then we'll go about our day. Okay. All right. 2 seconds.